So, welcome everybody to our Friday live with John, who cannot be here with us at the moment because he's traveling. But I will be introducing the session for you, and I will introduce Cindy, this wonderful painter from the United States, and she will be guiding us today to watch her works, and then she will do a beautiful demo. Ethel, could you share the PowerPoint with us so that we get to know Cindy a little bit better if we don't know her already?
All right, let's do this.
Because Cindy has been a brand ambassador for many, many years.
Yes. And of course, we'd like our friends to connect with Cindy via socials. She's in Instagram. Just look up for Cindy Briggs. And also in Facebook, this is her art page. That's Cindy Briggs Art. And Cindy also has a beautiful website where you can check schedules for upcoming workshops and other events. So now the next couple of slides, Cindy, are your artworks, and of course, our us and the rest of the audience will be happy to learn a thing or two about each of the artworks here. We begin with this piece.
Yeah, this is from Sicily, where I taught last year, and I'll be going there again next year. Hi, Meg. It's an old fishing boat, and they were very close to where we painted. We'll be going back to Sicily to paint next year. Next year, I love it out there. But the old boats, saving the whites, using masking fluid on some of the lines, just a touch of color in the water. This was one of those paintings where it just came together for me. And I've got it in Plein Air magazine this month.
It's a gorgeous one.
Thank you.
And who is not in love with Sicily? Come on.
Oh, absolutely. Here we are in Italy again. This is a lesson that I taught, mostly about simplifying the scene and getting into the skies. I teach a lot of sky painting with watercolors, and wet and wet, it just gives you this magic effect. Using, of course, all Daniel Smith watercolors. Some of those colors I'll be using today in my demonstration.
We cannot wait.
Okay, this is close to home. I paint a lot of scenes from Zion National Park, Arches National Park, and the Canyonlands here in Utah. And this painting was in the National Watercolor Society show recently. It's one of my absolute favorite subjects. I love the majesty of the Canyonlands and working with light and shadow. Here you can see, you might notice where I use lavender in the shadows, and I also use some of that cobalt teal blue down in the sagebrush.
Amazing.
Thank you.
It's a splendid job.
Oh, thanks. This was recently at the Ghost Ranch in New Mexico. I was actually there a year ago and then this year or 2 years ago. So I love painting on location and just going for it. And that's a lot of my paintings are from actually being there and painting outside. And then I will also paint when I get back. You don't have time to paint everything that you want when you're there. So I get in what I can, and then my studio and my workshops, I'll be painting more of New Mexico. All right, this is Canyonlands in southern Utah, and I used fresh paint. A lot of my rows of ultramarine from Daniel Smith, adding in cobalt blues and even some phthalo blue green shade as you go into the distance. The mountains are almost a soft turquoise back there. This painting, it was accepted into the International National Watercolor Society show and is in Splash 24 with 100 of the best artists. And I was
Wow.
really excited for that one.
I'm not surprised because this is really, really a beauty. This is really beauty.
Oh, thank you. Do I use masking fluid? I saw that question. I used it in the branches. This painting
Mhm.
was done about 12 days ago at the Biltmore Estate. So it's a plein air painting. I use my same palette for everything. And it's on the back side. You cannot find this unless you're really looking for this spot. I was there with the plein air convention and with about 800 to 1,000 other artists painting on location, though most of them were up at the Biltmore on the other side of it. So I was really happy that I could find that spot. Oh, this one, I'm glad it's in the show. I couldn't remember what I sent you. This is what I'll be painting today. This scene that I painted in plein air in Oped les Vues in Provence. So I'll be taking
Oh.
you through this painting today.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
It
we'll see
looks
how.
very French.
Thanks. This is Cogley. It's a village near Portofino. Most people have an idea on the west coast of Italy, up near the French border. I think I've got that right. And I paint a lot in sketchbooks. I brought some of them to share today. And this was painted in my Italy sketchbook prior to a workshop. So I usually go early. Teresa Gasling and I teach together over there, often with French Escapade. And we took a painting day before our workshop, and that was one of my happy moments right there.
Yeah. So, Cindy, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful, wonderful works. And of course, you will be in this Splash 24. If somebody doesn't know about it, it's a magazine. I don't know if it's only watercolor, but yeah,
It is.
all good. Yeah, so excellent artists are featured there. And would you like to share with us what would you like to share? And anytime you want to start your demo, you can start after. I think you want to share your sketchbooks.
Yeah, I have a few of my
you can-
sketchbooks, which are partly from my workshops and partly on my own, like you could see in that one picture with Cogley, that some are done during a workshop and some when I get some free time during my travels. So I have a few. They're always kind of fun to share, and I don't know which one's going to pop up first, but this is New Mexico. And this I actually painted the other day. So I don't always fill my sketchbooks when I'm there. And the first page I save until I'm ready to decide what to put in that sketchbook. These are Edger sketchbooks. They run about $75. And I've decided with these trips that I take that it's worth spending a little money. I'll show you a few pages from here. These were done on location. Some are more finished than others, but they do bring me a lot of joy while we're out there. I love doing little studies. Here's a study for that first page, which I did this in my mentoring group Wednesday. So they're not all done when I'm traveling. Sometimes I add a few pages, and these were also recently added. So there's Santa Fe.
Beautiful Lily.
My French sketchbook is on my YouTube page. So you can take a look at this one on YouTube. These were all done on location. this was in Plein Air magazine, the April-May issue. And they're done right there in the park. A little village. I'm more of a village than a big city girl. So I like wandering the villages and exploring and finding treasures to paint. These are value paintings. They're great warm-ups. And when you're in a busy city or have a busy day, they're really fun to do. I'm using permanent brown and cobalt blue with these. I can't remember the name of every village, but this is where we stayed. And notice I'm using lavender,
Yes.
native yellow, and yellow ochre, permanent brown. These are colors that I'll be using in today's demonstration. Let's see, I will not take you through the whole thing, but it's fun to see a few pages. There we go.
Yeah, very, very beautiful. Wow. Sunflowers.
I saw one sunflower field, not in front of the town, but they just had a few sparse sunflowers. And I thought, oh, I want sunflowers underneath my village. So I painted it once and skipped the
Oh,
foreground.
gorgeous.
And then
That's
in
the
the next
Provence.
workshop,
Yeah.
because we had 2 workshops back to back. I painted this in the first one, and then I painted that in the second workshop. So some places are, sometimes I repeat because I love the subject, but then I'll change it up. There we go. That gives you an idea what's back here. I love the sketchbook. It's one of my favorites. And since we're painting in France, I thought this would be a good one to share. I have 2 other sketchbooks that if we have time, I'll share them at the end. There we go.
Oh, that's what Belle wanted to see. Can you show us your poppy painting?
Oh, the poppies.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, Belle asked to see that. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, good.
The page in front of that.
Oh,
No,
that one?
no, it's big poppies.
Oh, the big poppies. This one.
Yes, yes.
Ah,
What was
yes.
fun about this field, this was all there, except there were about 5 barely surviving poppies in the field. We saw them in the morning and they were doing pretty well, but we didn't get a picture until the afternoon and they had all wilted. So I managed to pick and choose a few poppies from the field and then just added more.
Thank you
Cindy,
for sharing.
Cindy, do you sketch in pencil or do you have a pen or something that you favor? Some of your work looks like it's done in pen.
I do a lot in pen when I'm traveling. For instance, this is done with actually that's done with a paintbrush. This is pencil, this is pen. And the pens I use are Faber-Castell 311. No, wait. Faber-Castell. This is what happens when I start talking. Pitt Artist Pen. And I get
Waterproof?
These are waterproof.
Good girl.
I also use Rotring and
Yes.
in black. These come in a sepia, sanguine, and black. So I usually have about 5 of them when I travel, and they're all fairly fine point. That way I can choose what I want. This one, what did I use? I have to really look at. This was sanguine. Sanguine's kind of nice because it almost disappears into the drawing, but it's there. It's there. Thanks for this one. I use a pencil. So the pencil lines kind of disappear, but I don't worry about them. So today's drawing is from a plein air painting that I did on location. I've got the photo here. It's up in Oped-les-Vaux, and I've painted a few scenes from that area. It's a beautiful village, kind of hidden in Provence. It's not on the main trail where everybody else goes. And so
Mhm.
what I'll be using for that, I've already drawn it out because, we have limited time. Once I get my
Yeah.
drawing done, I use a kneaded eraser to soften the lines. Now, when I painted this the first time, I didn't decide until this morning what am I going to paint? And then it came to me. They speak to you where to go. And when you have,
They do.
yeah, this one is like, nope, this is the one you're going to paint today. So I'm okay. I'm good with that. I use a basic mechanical pencil to draw with. And I have my Daniel Smith watercolors here. This is my dot card. I use these colors for portraits, for landscapes, buildings, everything. Now, what I may add, just because it's fun when I'm working with Daniel Smith, to try out another color or two. What do I have here? Oh, there they are. Aussie red gold. And I may do a little bit of Sedona genuine, just to try it out. I don't know what's going to happen.
And just really quick, we're probably going to have questions about your dot card. So I went ahead and posted the dot card colors in the chat, both on Facebook and Zoom. And I will repost it periodically for newbies.
Oh,
Excellent. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. My dot card is, I started with 33 colors. I painted with 33 colors on my palette for years. But when I started teaching more, it's like you can't ask people to buy 33 colors. So then I narrowed it down to the real basics, started with the real basics, like a warm and a cool yellow, a warm and a cool red, and a warm and a cool blue. And then built out from there, because as you know, you can use 3 colors and mix, but I'm in a hurry and I like having a lot of my Daniel Smith colors. So where am I going to start? I think I'll start with the building. It's pretty important to me. And we'll see what direction I go. Someone asked me, what's my favorite color? If I only had one color to paint with, I do like permanent brown, because I can paint my studies with that one color and they can turn out beautifully. If I could tell you my favorite magical color, it would be lavender, because I use that a lot in my shadows. It's kind of an impressionistic color. I'm going to wet my building because I want mixed and mingled color on there. You can see it right here. This was a day that it started raining on me before I was, well, completely finished, but it actually added to the painting and it got me out of there. Sometimes we can go too far with our paintings. So having a short amount of time can be a good thing. All right, Naples yellow is a nice sunny color. This is Aussie red gold. I'm gonna throw, ooh, look at that. I'm gonna throw some of that in there. It's very warm. Yellow ochre. I can throw a little bit of that in there. So I'm painting wet and wet. Maybe I'll use some buff titanium. I can go into that tree a little bit. Every time you paint a subject, it changes a little bit. And when I started, our teacher said that Andrew Wyatt would sometimes paint his painting 7 times before he was happy with it. This is a little Sedona. See, I can just drop those colors in and let them move around. And while I've got all warm colors, on there. I need some cool, a little bit of cool color to bring it to life. The complementary color, complementary colors can sing together, especially if you have a dominant color. So my dominant is warm, mostly yellows, a little bit of that permanent brown in there while it's wet. I can
Cindy, really quick, what kind of brush are you using there?
Oh, good question. Let me get my lavender in. So it needs that cool color, and then I'll show it to you.
Thank
I
you.
love these brushes. I first bought them at the Daniel Smith store. They've got that working, I think. This is the Dynasty Black Gold 311 quill. And I have a 0, a 2, and a 4. So these sizes, this is similar to an 8, a 12, and maybe a 14 round. They run, this one is maybe $12. This one, 16, depending on where you buy it. It's a little more if you buy it on some websites versus others. And if you get my newsletter with, I always have my supply list and it talks about where you can buy things. Because I don't know if I can do that here. All
On
right.
Facebook, we have a follow-up question asking if you're painting flat or if you're working on an inclined surface. That's from Kim. Thank you.
Oh, I'm painting flat. This is a small area. When I'm teaching, I'm painting at an incline because I have to have it on an easel so people can see it. And when I'm painting at home, I teach pretty flat because I need to have the camera right above it. And if I had the choice, I prefer flat because I like the colors to move outwards. I like the questions. Thank you. Let's see, I'm going to bring some of my lavender back into this area and let it mingle. Now that I'm calming down, I don't know, there's something about starting live and getting into it. I love that wall. This wall needs some love, but if I mess with it too much, I could mess it up. And by the time it dries, it could be just fine. It's natural to be a little judgmental about your paintings when you're in the midst of it. So we'll just keep going. There's that Sedona Genuine that I decided, oh, I'll try that out.
That's a Primatech, isn't it?
It is, wait, no, not that one. It is a Primatech.
Yeah.
Yes.
Primatech, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful texture. I remember hearing a lot of stories about how when they go out to find their colors out around the world, really. That's what's so interesting to me because as a rock painter, I love painting, you know, the canyonlands of Utah, that I love these sedimentary colors, the variety of colors. Like one color that I really like that I'm not using in this one is that hematite burnt scarlet.
Oh,
Genuine.
one of my favorites.
Well, now maybe I might put it on my palette. We'll see. There we go. My greens, phthalo yellow green is my basic yellow green. And then green apatite genuine is my basic green instead of sap green. And then I add other colors to those. If I mix the two together, it just gives me a nice medium green. So when I'm teaching greens, those are easy to work with. What I do like to do is add gold, quinacridone gold to my green, or a rich green gold, which is another great Daniel Smith color. And I'm going to start throwing in some greens. Often, now, does that look like this? Not exactly, because I drew it while I was there. And I used my drawing to redraw it down in on here. I needed to start getting some colors in there so that I can judge what I've got. Here's kind of the rich green gold that I mixed with phthalo yellow green. And quinacridone gold. See, I pause because I have to think about what am I doing? When you have greens or foliage, think about it being light towards the top and darker towards the bottom. And I can even throw in a little bit of that lavender now and then. And my yellow ochre, I can bring some of those into the greens, move the color around. This is taking me back to being in Provence, going up to this village and finding I sat on a porch, a little step out of the way to paint this. And
Is that near where the lavender fields are?
This OPED is not too far from Roussillon.
Ah, Le Roussillon, yes.
And Gourd is not too far away. Maybe it's around over here.
That's an area with lots of lavender in the summer.
There, yeah, they have lavender there in the summer. This was actually in the spring. I was in Provence for about 3 months and was fortunate to be able to go out and paint and explore, see all those different variations of greens. That's a lot of fun.
Cindy, you have a really funny comment on Facebook from Jose. He
Oh,
said,
did I?
yes, he said white long sleeves. Only a master watercolor artist can wear that without getting a drop of paint on it.
Oh, that's
A little Friday
True.
humor.
That is funny. I actually did get some paint on my white shirt before we started. That's why I have an apron on. So I do wear white a lot when I'm traveling. It's just easy.
It's like, you know, it's kind of like a white canvas, you know, a little tie-dye at the end of the day.
There, so now you can
Cindy,
see.
we have excuse me, we have a question here by Jyoti. She says,
Okay.
what is a good watercolor easel for plein air? And good to see your work.
Oh, thank you. The Plein Air Pro is what I use with, it comes with a tripod that I think is a little heavy. And so I just buy one from Amazon for $20 that's lighter weight. And yeah, I've been using the Plein Air easel for, I don't know, at least 10 years now. So that's an easy one to set up. I've bought so many easels over the years. So finding one that you get along with is always nice. Here you go. I drop in some blue. Sometimes you want a blue green. Sometimes you want a golden green. It tends to be lighter at the top of the bushes and a little darker as it comes down towards the bottom of the section. This is one big section. It's like I'm ready to get to another part. And I've got a half an hour, so let me just fill in some greens. I have a picture, a little more of a close-up of the finished. That was also on the slideshow. There. Lavender, once again, I like bringing lavender as my cool color now and then. It helps kind of move you around the painting. And if you look at the Impressionist paintings, you'll see some lavender in there. I was really glad when Daniel Smith made that color. Notice how I leave a little sparkle of light between layers of my bushes. There. What I like about these demos is I can't dabble around too long because we have to finish it. This is yellow ochre. I'm putting that down first, and then I'll come back and paint in the vineyard stripes. They were just starting to turn green. And oh, where's that golden color? There. That was Aussie red gold. I'll throw that in. And lots of greens. I almost thought about painting the Biltmore again, but that's all green except for the little bit of building. This one at least had some more variation. Here, my wall. Let's get kind of an underpainting in there. Underpainting of warm stone color. And it's fairly flat right now. I'm going to come back in and vary things up a bit, but I need to get a little more of this landscape in. There. There's areas of light, areas where it gets darker. Cypress trees tend to be more of a blue-green. So I've got cobalt blue mixed with my green apatite. And I do have a couple back in here. And right in here. So it feels like a plein air painting because I'm going so quickly. There's some cypress trees. And I've got more right along here. Little landscape developing for you. And often I think, well, do I paint Zion or do I paint Europe? I get a lot of requests for Zion and the national parks. Let's see, that part wouldn't be as blue. This is closer, it's in front there. See if that's too wet, I'm gonna give myself the suggestion of the vineyards down below. Put it in, mess it up. There's so many layers of greens out there. when I started painting with my aunt, Ellie Weekly, she said she didn't like green. And so I had this unnatural fear of green for a while. And now I love green. It's all around us. So we need to embrace our greens and just change it up. And so with the colors I have in my palette, I can easily get to a blue green or a golden green. There, is that dry? Almost. I am leaving this lower part kind of unfinished. There we go. Sort of drop in some color. As you go further back, the hills turn more towards the blues, like the lavenders, right? So I'm going to bring my lavender in here. Keep it soft. There may be a little bit of green going into that. There we go. So the lavender and the greens come together. Is this the
Cindy,
order?
these brushes, are they synthetic? Do they
Yeah.
hold, yeah?
They are
They hold
one.
less water than the mop brush, right?
Yeah, the mop brush, I don't get along with the mop. It's too floppy for me. So what I like is the way this brush, it bends back. See that? It bends back into shape and it has a
Yeah.
really nice point. And I did
Yeah.
get those from the Daniel Smith store for years.
On Facebook, we have a question from Penny, and she is asking, do you use red with the green? Thank you.
Oh, do I? Yeah. If you add red to green, you're going to get an olive green. So see that? Just throw some red in there. And
Yeah.
there's olive. Maybe I'll use some of that right here. Yeah, red, you can add rose to your greens. Let's give you nice olive colors. That was a good suggestion. Thank you. All right, what's left? Mountains and some details on my roof. I want a wet in wet sky. Oops, I've got green water. And I really do want to put some details on my building. It's going to make it look more finished. I'm going to go ahead and paint right through that back layer of my mountain and use lavender in my sky, maybe with a little bit of blue. That's my favorite color today. There we go. If I can do 10 more minutes, and I'll have some time to show you my journals some more. Okay,
You
what's
have 20 minutes left, Cindy.
okay. I'm painting right through the cypress tree up there. This is lavender with a little bit of cobalt blue. It's really not about the sky so much as the rest of the painting, so I don't have to try too hard to get it right. That's not bad. Mess it up a little bit, go down into the mountain. There we go. It has a little bit of interest up there. You can always pull up some paint if you want. And There, so plein air. Plein air is wonderful. A lot of people get a little nervous about getting out for plein air, but I always say it's more about the experience and being there than about having a great painting. You know, if the painting turns out, that's a bonus. But what happens when you paint from plein air is you experience the scene with all of your senses. And it's quite magical. It's you hear the birds singing. This is permanent brown. You are creating a memory. And then when you get back to your studio, if you want to, you can paint it again, just like I am right now. I'm painting it again, but I'm remembering being there and having this day that I'll always treasure. This is permanent brown. It's great for the inside of windows. Nice, dark. I can always go back into it if I want. Let's see, this is all wet. This, I was going to get more color down there. All right, I'll let my mountains dry and then I'll come back in and put that distant mountain back there. And I can't put that cypress tree in until the sky dries. So where can I go? Well, I can work on that roof. The rooftop. See if you can see it. It's just dark and dirty. When you're there, you see so much more than what you see in a photograph. So going to the colors that I painted in my study, I can brighten things up just a little bit. I've got the gold. Let's see, the Sedona. I'm changing up my colors. There. And possibly some of my lavender. That ages it, gives it some more character. The overhang of the roof right here is usually darker, so I'm using permanent brown. Instead of a pen, you can just use your paintbrush and get some of those calligraphic lines to work for you.
On Facebook, Sue is asking, do you ever pre-wet areas? Thank you.
I did. I pre-wet this wall and I pre-wet the sky. So it depends timing wise, and if I want a lot of mingling going on, or mostly in skies, I'll do wet and wet because it just gives me those soft cirrus clouds. That's a good question. Any other questions?
Cindy, we would like to see, maybe have a quick look at your painting from closer. If you could bring it to the camera for a moment. Yes, that's lovely.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Yeah.
We're getting there. Yeah, the plein air painting, if I have time, I'll show you. Oh, it's in a slideshow from the Biltmore that I was really happy with. It was one of those moments where I knew where I wanted to go because I bought a refrigerator magnet there last time I was traveling. And so I knew what I wanted to paint, but I didn't know where it was. This is that Sedona. And then I asked around until I found it because it was pretty well hidden, that spot. Okay, so I definitely need some value changes. right now I have an underpainting on my roof and on my walls, and I need to add some character to it. Let's see, I am putting a little bit of lavender in that roof.
Connie Snyder
Cindy,
says, beautiful
Mhm.
French feel.
Oh, thank you.
Pamela has a question. She said, you've left the bottom unfinished. Are there times when you'd be more likely to do this?
Oh, absolutely, especially when I'm painting in plein air. It just says it's watercolor. I don't need to finish the whole thing. And I do that sometimes with my big canyon paintings and let it drip down. There, now I'm starting to get some value changes on my building. It was just a little flat.
Cindy, what size do you paint when you're outdoors, and what size do you paint when you come back in, like for your canyon paintings, for example?
When I'm painting outdoors, I think the journal, the biggest that it goes is 11 by 14 when I do a spread. This is 8 by 8, which is a comfortable size to paint. I really don't go much bigger in plein air. And then my big rock paintings are anywhere from a half to a full sheet. So up to 30 by 22. And for those, I use Fabriano 300-pound gold brass paper. I love Fabriano. I've got my Fabriano pad right here. So that's what I'm painting on right now.
So
So
this
the
is 300
300
grams.
pound, that would be 600 GSM, right?
I
450 maybe.
I don't know the calculation difference.
So the paper
I
you're
think,
painting on right now is 140 pound.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you said you like to use 300 pound sometimes.
Yeah, for my big paintings.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be 600 GSM. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, for those big paintings, it's nice to have that heavier paper. You can abuse it a little more and, you know, lift. It doesn't wrinkle when you're painting a big wet by wet area. And so it's expensive, but it's worth it for those big paintings. I wouldn't use it just for a quick demo. No, something like this. I don't want to cut it up into small pieces. I buy 10 sheets at a time. So it's less expensive when you buy it that way. There, doesn't that help to have the roof?
It does, totally.
Yes, it does.
I love the way
Yeah.
you did the lines on the roof and then you kind of just
Too.
messed them up a little bit. I love that.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
thanks.
very nice.
I'm using lavender on the inside of these windows. And I need some part of the shadow. Okay, see the time. Let me, I want to do more.
You've got 10 minutes,
Okay.
Cindy. Still 10 minutes left, so
I'm
you're
doing
good.
pretty good, I think, for the time.
Yeah,
A planar
you're
painting
great.
takes, you know, a good hour, 2 hours max. The sun changes so much after 2 hours that you really can't do much after that, and you get tired of all that sun. Here's some, see that lavender in the walls? That's some really nice.
Definitely.
Allow it to make a great shadow.
Oh, thanks. I like hearing comments. There. And this is where I need in the sky. Let me use my dryer for just a minute. This is a Ranger heated graph tool, and it's quiet. Only 30 something dollars. Rise really fast. Let's see. It's a little corner right up in there. Permanent brown comes in handy for those details. Now, if you don't want to use a pen, you can use your brush to make statements. And I want to get in right there. So because there is a value change, I need a value change on that wall. So it's not making it easy there.
Cindy, who are the artists that have influenced you the most?
Oh, I always say my aunt, because she got me painting. Her name's Ellie Weekly, and she taught for this Scottsdale Art Center before a lot of other people taught there. I love Charles Reed's work. And of course, if I could paint like John Singer Sargent, I would be so happy.
Wouldn't be all.
I know, I love his work, but we end up painting in our own way, and we're just inspired by other artists over time. Like I was in Santa Fe, and I was just like all over looking at Georgia O'Keeffe's work, because I'm there and I can almost feel her spirit and her energy in what was painted around there. It's gotten a little better. I've got a little problem area, so I'm going to ignore that and put in the base of my building to get it to sit down in the ground a little more. I got a little darker there. I'm going to put in my distant mountain. Mess that one up a little. The lavender. This one is further back than what's in front. Just to suggest that it's back there. Notice how this in the distance, it's not matching what I see. I made my mountain shape. I designed that. I designed the shapes. And this mountain is coming right here into the roof. So it's up above the corner, and then back here, I have it coming down. Here it's on the roof, and here I'm having it come down below. That way the rooftop is sticking up out of the landscape rather than just tucked into it. So when you design your mountains, when you place things, think about how everything relates to each other. And here's my cypress. Yep, I can get it in just in time.
Yes, we are looking forward to seeing your cypress. So you use what color? I'm wondering what color you use for your cypress.
All I do is take my green apatite and then cobalt blue. Sometimes I might add a little bit of my permanent brown into it, and that just gives me a nice blue-green.
Blue-green cypress.
Yes. Cypress is this color, really. Yeah.
And I can even bring in a little bit of my lavender into that green. The lavender is moving around my painting. I'm painting the cypress tree last because it's darker. And I can go over the sky. I actually received the lavender. I know it's been a while. When I was about to leave for Provence. Lavender, wisteria, I think there was one other color. And the lavender is just really stuck with me. I like adding it to my landscapes, to my portraits, all kinds of subjects. Now you'll notice this tree was one big tree and it was really tall. So I had to decide, do I want it to go off the page? Do I want to give it a partner tree so it's just not such a dominant shape? And that was another decision. You know, you make design decisions the entire time you're painting. But I'll be going to France and Belgium next year with French Escapade and Sicily. I think there's just 1 or 2 rooms. So what we do is we just go out and we paint on location and have great experiences.
Yes, take all my money.
Oh, thanks.
It's only money. It's only money.
Cindy, do you use the same palette for your portraits?
Yes, I do. Okay, here's the real quickie. This one probably took a little bit longer. I only have the printout of it, so you can see
Very nice.
what I did while I was there. And then this one in an hour. Similar, a little different. I like that glow from our Aussie red gold. And there you go.
Really nice. Beautiful.
That's a real beauty. A real
Yeah,
beauty.
it is.
Thank you very
Beautiful.
much.
So just the right timing.
Good.
We are delighted to follow you, and everyone is so impressed. We get so many beautiful comments. Everyone is impressed and very inspired by you. So we thank you so much for sharing this painting with us, and we invite everybody to join us next Thursday and Friday next week. So thank you, Cindy, and see you very soon again.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Cindy, very
Really
much.
beautiful.
Have a nice
Thanks,
weekend.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.